Welcome to The Future Was Yesterday, a podcast where we talk about the future of work due to the changes in technology, society, and communication in a time in which our real and digital lives intersect to create a new world. To talk about the changes this pivotal moment is bringing to our world, but specifically for those in the startup sector, I would like to introduce my guest today. Jason Fishman is a growth marketing podcaster, Web3 launch specialist, and investor acquisition expert based in Los Angeles, co founder and CEO of DNA Digital Niche Agency. He spent 15 plus years on the front lines of performance driven digital marketing, building campaigns for over 900 clients, and leading more than 500 successful crowdfunding campaigns where his strategy has been translated into nine-figure capital raised. Jason is also part of expert panels, the Forbes Agency Council, and runs his very meaningful podcast, Test, Optimize, Scale, in which he and his guest brings enormous value to his audience. Welcome, Jason, and thank you for being here.
Thank you. Excited to be on the podcast. As you mentioned, I work with a high volume of startups, growth stage companies, groups that are raising capital in many cases. You mentioned investor acquisition. We've worked on over 500 of those deals.
And I would like to ask you like a side question to start the conversation. Can you talk us a little
Sure.
bit about your company, DNA, Digital Niche Agency?
Yeah. So we're based here in Los Angeles. For anyone familiar with the area, Marina Del Rey, right here next to Venice Beach. And I started the company as a growth marketing firm. I found our clients were always talking about fundraising, whether they were asking us to work on the marketing section of their business plan, put together a pitch deck that they could use as part of their investor discussions, even our campaigns. They said, hey, these are really tests. We're going to be showcasing the results to our investors and looking to have them scale with more capital into the exercises, into the marketing campaigns. I was even being asked to participate in those investor meetings and pitch investors with them. So when I first learned about some of these filings here in the U.S., and as mentioned, there's similar ones all around the world at this point, where we could use digital marketing to reach new prospective investors. My background is in advertising, in ad tech, so I said, hey, I could utilize third-party data partnerships that I have and reach high net worth, high household income audiences. I can filter by various types of investor behavior and interests, what they're doing online, and target them with ads. And roughly every $1, $2 we spend is a visit to an offering page from an investor. The offering page basically being a vertical pitch deck that lives on a site. Oftentimes there's a pitch video up top there that would encapsulate what a sit down with the founder would consist of. Maybe splicing some different video clips of the product, of the team, of the company, problem, solution, and customer, if you will, and client. So I can drive traffic to prospect investors to an offering page. I can use the advertising to retarget them and bring them back and back and back. We run these campaigns that incorporate retail investors now. The law's opened up further. In the US here, there's Reg CF, regulation crowdfunding. You can raise up to $5 million. Regulation A+, where you can raise up to $75 million. And we shoot for a 10x return on advertising spend or higher on those campaigns. For ones that have a larger investment amount, the retail campaigns, the average investment's $1,500, $2,500, relatively low. But if you bring in 1,000 investments, let's say from 800 people, some of them participating multiple times, that's $1.5 million. That's $2.5 million. So it's a game of, hey, who are we targeting? How are we getting people to that page? What are the meaningful updates we're getting out to them? I seek a headline-worthy announcement on a weekly basis. We put together these content calendars. On the Reg D campaigns, that's the accredited investor only campaigns, it may be a 25, 50K minimum, perhaps 125K average investment. So, it's not uncommon to see, 30, 50x or higher. What one done correctly, and all contingent upon a strong conversion rate, digital marketing term, but bringing investors through that funnel and watching them complete their investment. So again, we use content, social media, email, long form content, including webinars, articles, videos, offering page updates, press releases. We want to be intentional about what audiences find when they're searching around and doing their due diligence. It could be 7 touch points or more before they even complete a lead form for an accredited investor campaign, and or invest on a Reg CF or Regulation A plus. Let's say it's a retail investor. But with digital, as we see those results, it's somewhat systematic in terms of how we scale it up. Can use outreach on LinkedIn and email to accomplish the same thing, but can really bring sizable traffic with the ads and retarget aggressively. I mean, they can see the brand, they can see the offering on a daily basis. We'll continue working with groups towards their growth metrics, users, customers, clients, leads, after a capital raise, in between rounds, as I'd like to say, but we've become very well known for our investor marketing initiatives.
And it's I think, no, at least in my experience, is a rare or a not common mix of skills that it should be, because as a founder you should go out and sell your company, your product. You need to raise capital, but have a expert in marketing like yourself becoming this attractor of investment and creating. I don't know if it's you're already creating a niche for that, because it is, as I say, something that it should be, but it is not. And I think it's great what you are doing, because selling, I think most of the times, is one of the most difficult part, or the most difficult process for especially for the founders, that they don't know how to articulate their vision or how to reach investors, or people that can buy into their dreams. No, how much time founders spend practicing and perfecting their pitch. No, it's the rite of passage. No, being a founder, learn how to pitch, and having someone like you on their corner, I imagine it's a game changer.
Yeah, I know many founders who look at it as a full-time job to raise capital, and companies unfortunately go under because they don't have enough cash flow. I remember, reading in a book, the E-myth, the entrepreneur myth, the difference of being self-employed or working in your business versus on your business. Entrepreneur, self-employed, the contrast that 90% of startups fail in the first year, and success rates don't look great, year 2 all the way to year 5. And in many cases, it's because they're short on capital. They're not able to hire the right people, build in the fashion that will allow them to really take on more market share. So to be able to focus on this area of their business, to be on the front lines of, hey, we're bringing investors in, we're bringing capital in, and you're getting all this inherent marketing value as part of it. I mean, we've had clients that, due to the success of their equity crowdfunding campaign, one of the capital raise types we work on, they were featured by Forbes, 30 under 30. Others have had other types of accolades and different press and publisher mentions. They've been able to grow their valuations. They've seen individuals come in as retail investors, and later super users, super customers, super clients of their product. Seen press opportunities, franchise, M&A activity. So I really look at it as a strong marketing play as a whole, and something that more companies should utilize.
Yeah, it's it's, as you said, it's not common marketing. If I remember well from time I spent in accelerators and incubators, marketing spending or spending in marketing is not in the priorities of the teams. No, when they are raising capital, they are looking to attract talent for build and not talent for sell. And it's, well, as you said, it's the real or realistic part of the this kind of business. No, you need money to exist as a company, to pay salaries, create, continue alive another 6 months.
Mm-hmm. And across all verticals, we think tech, mobile apps, software as a service, various types of applications and AI builds. But it's also mom and pop type restaurants and different businesses, entertainment companies, on the lower tier that are looking to get to larger stages. Yeah. So I've found this a great way to get awareness and then mature that awareness into physical investments, dollars, all the way through.
And on top of all the great things that you are doing, one of the things that I found especially important and interesting is the crowdfunding part, because this I believe in this part of create a community that will be the cheerleaders of the project, but also the users or the beneficiaries of the project, not just donating their money, but on the project, but because they believe in the promise or because they need that solution. And sometimes getting those people together or getting make them aware that you exist and you have a solution, it's very difficult for a lot of startups, a lot of companies.
It absolutely is. The success rates are not great for capital raises across the board. Going after venture capitalists who often want to see something that's really moving and has strong EBITDA, profits, revenues these days. They're not as willing to put in seed capital, early stage funding as they were years back, and can be more selective about their deal flow. The same can be true about angel investors. You stack on top of that concerns about the economy and different verticals and marketplaces at times. And some verticals, it's difficult to get funding right now. What I love about equity crowdfunding, I should say regulated investment crowdfunding, some of these deals work off of not just shares, but debt type of arrangements for the investment, safes, convertible notes, different types of capital formation. What I love about this is it democratizes access to capital for a founder, for a CEO. It's no longer limited to your network. You don't have to just go after your parents' friends or your associates at a country club, or really know the right people who can come in at large check sizes. You can go after accredited investors using these digital tools and look to have them come in at large amounts. You can go after high volumes of small investments through retail and accredited investors. Be bringing them in towards your growth metrics at the same time.
Yeah.
For investors as well, it's access to growth stage deals, private companies, those that are not listed on the stock market today in most cases. Public companies could actually use the Regulation 8 Plus filing to do a priced round, and some companies use Regulation 8 Plus to direct list into a public market. But the majority of them are private companies. So you hear stories of, hey, what if you invested in Facebook in their first couple years, and when they went public, what that would be worth, the types of multiples that the investors were able to actualize. So that is now a very real opportunity for investors. So it's a great way to connect investors and founders.
Well, the podcast, it's supposed to be about the future of work. And with your expertise, I think we are going into a very specific, or I would like to go to a very specific part of the future of work, that it's the situation that maybe all of us will have to be entrepreneurs at some point, because the regular jobs, 9 to 5, it's mm, something that it's probably not going to exist for a long time. Uh,
Sure.
and thinking like that for people, especially for people that they are in like entering the second half of their lives, or maybe about to retire, and thinking that they will need to continue working, maybe create a project, either for looking for purpose, or looking for an extra income, and they enter into this silver economy. Can you have some advice for these kind of founders in this condition, about how to gather interest, how to start getting traction in their project, so they can get the funding that maybe couldn't get because of their age? Banks are not going to lend them
Sure.
money or something. You have some practical advice for those kind of people?
Yeah. Well, it's like you mentioned earlier. You have to build a community. You have to build an audience. As a digital marketer, we look at a concept called the funnel, where you have awareness at the top to bring people into that stage of the funnel, but that's where the majority of people stop. You then want to be able to nurture them to consideration,
Mhm.
intent. Even those that intend to convert, intend to invest, there's going to be a fall off. Conversion, in many cases, repeat conversion and advocacy. Peer-to-peer marketing is the ultimate form of marketing. If my brother tells me to take a look at an investment, or I should buy a product, I'm going to pay a lot more attention to it. I'll likely move forward on it. Where if I'm just finding something on my own, it doesn't have that same trust, that same credibility. It's not as enrolling. So you want to be able to really use your audiences to market to others. The first question I ask a company that wants to do one of these digital capital raises is, how large is your audience? Social media, email list, how many people can you reach digitally, directly, that you can bring to an offering page? Now, this could be true for an install page, an e-commerce page, lead gen, or an investment offering. It's not limited just to capital raising. It's the same tactics. I've actually learned a lot about marketing through these equity crowdfunding campaigns. And I'd already run advertising for Fortune 500s, but building it from the ground up, smart entrepreneurial marketing is something I really had to uh, become an expert at. Not just understanding, but be able to produce these results. Because in many cases, one budget has to produce the next for companies at these stages. So on these capital raises, as well as any other initiative, I recommend going at the first degree network first. This does not need to be an individual who could put in 500K, $500,000, as much as, hey, can I find 100 people that'll put in $1,000 on average each? Many of these filings, it's $100, $500 as a minimum, so they could come in at a minimum level just to support what you're doing and be along for the ride. If you get a head start at that, and you should absolutely be putting together a marketing strategy and making sure it fits into it, and start today. But if you're able to start building an audience, and even just bring a few people a day to join over the course of a month, over the course of a few months, over the course of a year or two, you can have tens of thousands of people that are following you. If you're already at those levels, look to incorporate digital marketing and have advertising running. Maybe every couple dollars you spend, you're getting a new email sign up, or less for a new social follower. But really look to build that audience. That way, when you have an ask, you have people that are already engaged with what you're doing. They already feel a relationship with you and the brand. Uh, Back to that marketing strategy, it's not a matter of just one tactic, as this larger holistic approach of, hey, let me get all the stats on my industry. I really want to understand the industry. Let me look at the competitors and their marketing strategies. What channels are they advertising on? What does their messaging look like? What channels are they posting content on? Who's talking about them in the media? What are their big headlines? I want to understand exactly how they're obtaining digital market share. whether it's from investors or the end audience. For investors, it's crucial. I need to know what these individuals are being targeted with on these channels today, because they're going to see ads for those companies. They're going to see content for those companies. You then map out your target audiences, the marketing channels that you want to prioritize to reach them on. Multi-channel approach is best. You want to figure out the creative, so the visuals, the messaging that are going to go into each channel. Strategic partners that can help accelerate things for you and tap into their pool of followers that are already engaged, likely loyal, responsive, and reflect to your target audiences. And then projections. And some people get confronted by this, but the only way to measure is numbers. So for digital, impressions, clicks, conversions. How many times an ad or a piece of content's been seen, how much traffic it's driving to your funnel, how many conversions you're anticipating based on average conversion rates and average benchmarks all the way through. That way, you know what you're looking to drive, and if a channel is underperforming, you know where in the algorithm you're underproducing and where to focus optimization. So it's all a matter of being able to manage things to a point of effectiveness and continually improve. Whether you're the top issuer, the top company issuing shares, the top company in your category, or someone who's just starting out, you need to be able to understand exactly where you're going to get the traffic, or if you're getting an average conversion rate, maybe 2%, you're able to substantiate enough conversions, enough investments, enough purchases to move forward, and then systematically scale it up. You want to take that whole strategy, which mirrors a model I've built called the 8-point plan. Find more information on our site, digitalnicheagency.com. A lot of webinars on it, checklists, but those are the 8 points firing through it with an activation section, an executive summary, a page or two, reflecting the entire process that you put yourself, your team through to put together that campaign. As a marketer, if I don't see that strategy, if I don't feel it's believable and realistic, you're kind of shooting in the dark. Planning to fail. Failing the plan is kind of planning to fail. And it just doesn't inspire much confidence from your team, from an investor, from whoever you're looking to get behind you.
I think you just killed the idea of AI is going to replace us and take our jobs, because I don't think that someone is going to be able to come with this prompt to any AI, not do all this that Jason said and get me the best results and this amount of investment. You will need to have people who knows what they are doing, the experts who have the experience and understand what they are doing and how are the dynamics, especially when talking about working with people, no? The dynamics and the behaviors and all of this. AI is not, or at least I don't think is going to take that uh, soon,
With
let's
AI,
say.
it's all a matter of who's steering the ship. If someone asks AI to put together a business plan, or let's say in this case, and I haven't fully gone down this path before, but let's say they wanted ChatGPT to build them a marketing strategy to raise capital from investors using online marketing channels. Essentially, whatever the AI spits out, they're going to stand by. And I don't know, I can always pinpoint what's been built by ChatGPT. You got the M dashes, you got different types of tonality. It's apparent in many cases, hey, this was written by AI. A good AI usage, you should not be able to tell AI was involved.
Mm-hmm.
We've all seen visuals where we know, hey, look at the colors, look at the filter, look at what's built. This isn't very realistic. This is AI, and maybe put together in the matter of a few minutes. It can feel soulless. I don't think audiences are looking for AI movies or music or different content today as much as they are stuff that's been created by individuals. At least that's how I feel. I think it's neat. I think it's very cool that a strategy, 40 pages can be put together very quickly. But if it's fluff, if it doesn't have much, substance to it, what good is it doing anybody?
Yeah.
It's got the wow factor. I'll listen to these songs from the 90s recreated as, 1960s soul music. It's neat. I'm not re-listening to it. It's not entering my playlist. It doesn't have that individual's thoughts, critiques. Now you can use AI as a tool and have it improve what you're doing, but you really need that expert behind the
Yeah,
helm. If someone was starting a marketing agency tomorrow, I'm going to be able to give them tips that I've learned over the past, 10, 15 years. That's going to save them a lot of time and money. I've been down the road. I could show them the cheat codes. I could say, hey, these best practices aren't going to work for you in the timelines you're looking for. Here are some things you can do with strategic partners, with content, with your products, with your pricing, that you're not going to be able to get from an LLM. So I can refine what I'm doing and present it in a way that is potentially stronger using these tools. But they're tools. They're
yeah,
all a matter of who's using them and how.
absolutely. And this is something that other guests to the podcast have concurred that talk about the AI as tools, refer to them as tools and not as co-worker or collaborator or your secretary or something. Not that these are tools, and this, I think, it's a testament of the power of the language, no, of using the correct wording for what you want to communicate, and like this, taking AI is a tool, the power that you have to communicate sentiments or dreams or wishes to get people involved into projects and support them and give them money and believe on them. I think this is something only a person that is with a soul can do, and it's wonderful that it's someone like you, Jason.
Yeah. And they're constantly wrong. If it was an individual, I'd probably fire them. And I'm not, overly aggressive at that. I look to mature team members, but they're constantly wrong. I'll argue with, AI bots on sports analytics and business metrics and stats and things that I can see this is incorrect. And, everyone's seen the response. Good find. You're absolutely right. I would be afraid for someone who's relying on AI for all of their information. To supplement, sure. To take into account, reframe things, absolutely. But to have that consultant, who again understands the ecosystem, has seen things work, seen things fail, can kind of feel them before they happen, you're going to have some stronger resources at play. And I have a rule internally of it has to be better than human. I don't want to use AI merely to save time. I don't want shortcuts and hey, this feels easier if it's not producing as strong or really more powerful quality. The impact is really what I'm measuring. My clients don't care if we spend less time on it. We don't bill on an hourly for most services. We like to go the extra mile. They care about the results. So if it's not better than human at producing those results, I don't want to be overly fascinated by it.
Mm-hmm.
There are times when volume can produce better results. Some of the search engine optimization experts talk about how they can create hundreds of content pieces better than human and distribute, and what that means for the search engines, the tools, the tech that are reading it. So that there is a time and place for it, but it's got to be better. The end product, the end result is what I'm focused on, not just being oohed and awed by gadgets.
Yeah, totally. I have a very short experience with crowdfunding from a couple of books. We tried to crowdfund a few years back, and just trying to figure it out, the rewards and the tiers for the supporters, what is important for them, how you give value to them to support the project. We were making us crazy. We bankrupt one of the projects because we were creating a lot of physical rewards that were more costly at the end than what we could get from the crowdfunding. And it's so complicated. It's difficult. You need someone who is thinking, who understand the behavior, to understand what creates emotion, what creates attachment. Even if the project is good by itself, it's very difficult that itself sells. Someone has to do work there to make these connections, no?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's like just using a tool to work on your finances for your business, or using an expert who was a CFO at a public company with hundreds, maybe thousands of employees. They're going to be able to give you a different level of insight. They may use tools on top of it. I can put spreadsheets into AI, tens of thousands of rows, and have an output, have results, have different stats pulled from me in the matter of seconds, minutes. So I need to know what I'm putting in, what I'm looking to get out. But without that, underlying authority, without that experience behind it, you are limited.
Yeah. And finally, Jason, one last question, because just trying to pick your brain with this last question. For a project that it's starting, what could be more important? Have traction with a lot of followers, a lot of leads, or have a few clients already signed and committed to buy?
I think it's always great to front load those clients. Uh, Someone's working a job and they're looking to start their own company. Uh, you want to do this ethically outside of your work hours, but if you're able to build your initial client list or some path to revenue, so you're not just focused on capital raising, bootstrapped, if you will. If you're revenue producing, you're going to be in a much better place. For us, it was referral partners, and being able to have referral partners that are sending us clients on a monthly basis, maybe intros on a daily basis. If you're able to front load that, you're going to be in a much better place and have less of a time clock staring at you along with the burn rate. You can refine your products along the way. Make sure you're putting the right time into those to get them to a viable point, of course. But without that revenue, you can focus for years on the product and not have a dollar come in, which is stressful and could actually limit product evolutions later. So what comes first, the chicken or the egg?
Yeah.
The revenue, the partners, the clients, I would absolutely lean towards.
Yeah, it's not a contest of popularity, no, it's a distance run. Thank you so much, Jason, for sharing your time, your thoughts, and your expertise with us today. I hope it won't be the last time.
Of course not. I enjoy our conversations. I've been looking forward to this. Hope viewers, listeners get a lot out of this discussion. And I try to be an open book based on the number of deals we've worked on, over 500 capital raises, but also over 900 clients to date. Really have a lot of learnings that I want to put to use. And if it could save a founder time, money, make them more successful, that's what I'm really playing for, is a higher success rate on capital raises across the entire industry of equity crowdfunding and other types of investor acquisition initiatives. Then I'm putting these efforts, these successes and failures to good use.
Thank you so much. And thanks to our couple of listeners. Remember, we learn from each other. I wish you agency and a wonderful day. And remember, the future was yesterday. And remember also to listen, test, optimize, scale with Mr. Jason Fishman. Thank you very much. See you soon.
My pleasure. Thank you.